Grüezi miteinander, ganz herzlich willkommen und einen wunderschönen guten Tag, meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, liebe Freunde. Ich begrüße Sie einmal mehr aus St. Petersburg, aus dem Institut für fortgeschrittene Gegenwartskunde, zu einem weiteren Gespräch hier am Rande des Petersburger Wirtschaftsforums. Etwas improvisiert hier die Umstände. Wir überfallen unseren Gast hier gleich beim Frühstück. I'm saying that I'm attacking you while you're having your breakfast. Aber vielen herzlichen Dank, dass er sich Zeit nimmt. Das ist ein hochprominenter Mann, der neben mir sitzt. Und zwar handelt es sich um den erfolgreichsten Unternehmer von Nepal. Es ist Binod Chaudhary. Und Binod Chaudhary ist nicht nur ein sehr erfolgreicher Unternehmer und Milliardär, wie ich da den Unterlagen entnommen habe, sondern er engagiert sich auch für den geopolitischen Dialog. Er ist jetzt auch in dem Sinn politisch engagiert und mit diesen verrückten Zeitläuften beschäftigt. Er ist Vorsitzender der Chaudhary Group sowie Leiter des nepalesischen Ablegers von Geopolitical Cartographer. Und er ist der reichste Mann Nepals und als Unternehmer eben auch interessant jetzt hier in Russland unterwegs an diesem Forum. Und ich werde jetzt auf Englisch wechseln, damit wir uns verständigen können. I just made a short introduction, Mr. Chaudhary. Thank you very much for your time. We are not taking too much of it. I introduced you as a very successful businessman, but also with a huge interest in geopolitics. Now we're first of all, the question, in what kind of business are you in? What's your field? Where has your success come from in Nepal?
We are quite a diversified group, and we have a history of over 140 years. Started in a small, modest way by my grandfather in Nepal, coming in from India 140 years ago. And it was a different Nepal, you can imagine. There were no roads, there were no way of communicating there. So my grandfather must have made it to Nepal by climbing the mountains, as Nepal is well known for. Now, today, we are arguably the first and the only multi-billion company, multinational, with 32 countries where we operate. Our core areas of businesses include food, processed food. We have a brand called YY, which is pretty well known, and I'm sure it's also available in parts of Switzerland, at least in the diaspora ethnic stores, because they've grown up with YY. And apart from that, we have hotels all over the world, about 170. India is one of our biggest domain, but we are also in wildlife play. We are also in the wellness business under the brand name called The Farm in Philippines. We have our partners like the Marriott International, the Taj, and Accor, the Fairmont. We own 2 Fairmonts in Africa. And we are also in hydropower, we are in cement, we are in multi-dimension. It's like any conglomerate that you can think of. But me, having handed over the reins of the group to my 3 sons who live in our 3 global headquarters. One is in Dubai, one is in India, and one is in Nepal. I am now spending a lot more time in my foundation work and more importantly in politics. I'm an elected member of parliament because I truly believe that the government, like you mentioned yesterday, the role of the government has to be a role that complements the efforts of the private sector and allows people to grow and forge social harmony and happiness. It shouldn't be the other way around. That's my belief. How true is that and how much the world is following it? You can see it every morning in the tweet that a new sense of disruption takes place.
Very interesting. You're now in St. Petersburg here at the the St. Petersburg Economic Forum. What's for you personally, the most striking observation? What have you noticed? What is the atmosphere? What has surprised you? What has struck you? What are the most important observations that you had so far here at this forum? And why have you come? What is your personal interest in seeing what Russia is doing, since Russia is, especially especially where I come from, Switzerland, Europe, Russia is somehow on is the accused, and a lot of people refrain from going to Russia. Why are you here, and what did you see at this forum so far?
Well, I can summarize it in three forms. You're right. I wanted to come back and see what is happening in Russia, the changed Russia. I came here in 1984. I've seen the Soviet Union, Russia. I also came to St. Petersburg, which used to be known as the Leningrad that time. As a filmmaker, Russia, Soviet Union used to be Russian. Film festival used to be the biggest in the world. There were no signs of Cannes, for instance. Anyway, so here, I think Russia has been able to take their innovation and take their industries and many of their companies to the world-class level. This is something which I did not imagine. I saw that at the exposition yesterday and had a number of interactions with these people. Okay, despite the constraints that they have in terms of sanctions in some of the Western territories, but I think they're trying to force new markets in Africa, in Asia, as well as in many other parts of the world. And I think their strategies and their innovation stands out. That's number one. Mm. Number two, what I noticed was I think there is a lot of focus here on artificial intelligence and data security aspect. I think the 2 days during the Valdai conference, the focus of the conference, to me, although there were different sessions, was revolving around the IT and AI, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. So which gave me a feeling and a way, an opportunity to understand that the next level of the war probably is going to be at the cyber level. Mm-hmm. I could clearly sense it. And I think countries like US and China and Russia, I think these are the three major players in this space, and they are preparing for it. And they're trying to understand the ramification. My own view is that everybody's data must be respected, protected. Everybody must be provided the required cyber security tools and instruments. There has to be a mechanism as well as an institution to ring fence the unwarranted intervention and stealing of the data, so to speak, and misusing it, so to speak, by the use of AI. I think there were also talks about how AI is being used for the political means, for the terrorism means, for creating unrest in this world, how it's being manipulated even to make people win or lose in elections. I think we've been seeing it over the years. That's the second, I think, the most important thing that I learned. And the third part, which I believe is also becoming important, that the big groupings in terms of the economic strengths and capabilities of the countries is becoming irrelevant. Today, you can question easily, what happened in Canada in the G7 meeting. Whether G7 has any relevance or will continue to have any relevance, I'm not sure. Maybe there is a need of a new G20, or maybe there is a need of smaller countries to work to forge partnerships between bigger countries to bring them together. I can give you the example of my own country, Nepal. And we've always lived with the two of the Asia's major giants, China and India, and we've always had quite interesting relationships. They can't do without each other, and same time they also have reasons to at times be pushed into uncomfortable conversation. But Nepal, we have lived with both of them. We work with both of them, and we try to take both of them together. Although India, with 1,800 kilometers long border that cross the paddy fields and the rivers and the highways and free access to money as well as to travel, it's a different ball game. But still we work with both of them, and I ideally like both these countries to come together by bringing in their respective strengths to the table, with Nepal playing the role of the bridge.
That's an interesting point you bring up, because I'm coming from Switzerland. Switzerland is a very small country. Nepal is a relatively small country. We are living in a world of great behemoths, and we see there are huge troubles around now between the great powers, United States, Russia, China. These great countries that are somehow in conflict. We see a lot of disruption. You mentioned it. From the perspective of a smaller country, Switzerland is also one. What do you say is wrong in today's politics, and what could these great powers learn from us, from the smaller countries, who are probably more dedicated to wealth creation than to conflict creation? What's the recipe from Nepal to have a more peaceful, cooperative world?
Well, Nepal has always believed in having a peaceful coexistence. And that's why we've been always members of the non-aligned movement. We're never part of any specific power bloc. But I don't know, I mean, if people are going to let you live in peace, that's the issue. Whether you want to provoke disruption to peace, or somebody else is going to push you in that situation. Anyway, leave that aside. More importantly, I'm seeing that the whole world is becoming transactional. I think it's becoming more inward-looking. Big countries are becoming selfish, if I may say so. They are going to do what suits their people and their country and themselves in power. I think all the kind of strategies that are being executed are more of tactical moves to bring the transaction to a closure. That's how I see it. So I think the whole name of the game and the norms of building relationships between countries in the name of erstwhile, let's say, political philosophies, or what you believe in terms of the geopolitical science, has become irrelevant. Anybody can be a best friend so long their interests meet.
You're a very successful man. My final question, that you can finally have your breakfast. I mean, you're a successful businessman. Very shortly, very quickly, what's the most important principle you have always followed? What would you give as an advice to young people who want to create a big company, who want to be very successful? What is your personal success formula that you would say this has to be followed throughout life, and which is very important to you? Your most important leadership principle, so to say.
The biggest strength comes from believing in ethical business practice. What you say, what you preach, that's what you should do. Even if it brings you into trouble at times. If you are ethical and if you stand by your principles, you do not have double standards, I think you win in the end. It's a number two. If you are talking about the message to the new generation, I think today's world is so well connected that there is nothing called political boundaries anymore. I think the digital connection can take you from anywhere to anywhere. You just need a strong idea that wins. I think there is plenty of room out there for new innovative ideas and will to achieve and success.
Mr. Chaudhary, thank you very much for this conversation. Meine Damen und Herren, ich danke Ihnen für die Aufmerksamkeit. Jetzt lassen wir ihn aber seinem Frühstück, und wir sind auch schon wieder gerufen, in die nächste Geländekammer vorzustoßen. Vielen Dank. Thank you very much again. Lots of success also in the future, and let's hope and pray for peaceful coexistence in this world. Merci vielmal. Wir melden uns zurück.